From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, May 30th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.32 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,269 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 1.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,326. Antiwar.com reports witnesses are reporting a new round of airstrikes by Egyptian warplanes against the Libyan city of Derna, a follow-up launched after last week's strikes, which were claimed by Egypt to be retaliatory for a militant attack on a busload of Christians. Derna is known as a breeding ground for Libyan rebel factions and was the home of the nation's The Islamic State affiliate, though it was ultimately expelled by rival factions. The militants within the city, however, warn Egypt's claims that they were involved in the bus attack was a baseless claim, and indeed, the Islamic State has claimed credit for the attack. And while Egypt has offered no specific details on who they were targeting or killing in Derna, local factions issued a statement warning that many of the strikes were not hitting militant targets at all, but were just hitting random civilian bystanders. Egypt's foreign ministry argues that Derna is a direct threat to them, suggesting the strikes will continue. At the same time, Libya has so many factions spread across so many different areas that airstrikes against a few camps around a single city amount to little more than poking the hornet's nest. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports lawmakers scuffled on the floor of the Texas House of Representatives on Monday after one called immigration authorities on protesters. Matt Rinaldi, a state representative from Irving, called Immigration and Customs Enforcement while hundreds of people protested Senate Bill 4, the controversial Texas legislation that Governor Greg Abbott signed into law. SB 4 bans sanctuary cities, allows police to ask for the immigration status of anyone they detain, and threatens sheriffs with jail time if they don't cooperate with federal authorities. The demonstrators reportedly disrupted the last day of the state legislature's regular session, and Rinaldi said he called ICE because he didn't know how to handle the large protest. He told the Texas Tribune a lot of people had signs that said, "We are illegal and here to stay," and "We called law enforcement trying to incentivize them to leave the house. They were disrupting, they were breaking the law." His actions enraged some Hispanic legislators. Some of the language between the two sides apparently turned violent. Rinaldi said on Facebook that Pancho Navarez, a representative from South Texas, threatened to kill him. Meanwhile, Justin Rodriguez, a state rep from San Antonio, said that Rinaldi threatened to put a bullet in one of my colleagues' heads. House Speaker Joe Strauss chastised all parties involved, saying there's no excuse for members making insensitive and disparaging remarks on the floor of the Texas House. Legal challenges to the new Texas law are expected. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? Will anybody care? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports President Donald Trump on Monday condemned the fatal stabbing of two Good Samaritans who tried to stop a man from harassing a pair of women who appeared to be Muslim. In a tweet issued days after an advocacy group urged Trump to condemn the attack, it said his anti-Muslim rhetoric had encouraged. A third man, who also came to the aid of the woman, suffered serious wounds in the attack on a Portland commuter train on Friday, hours before the start of Ramadan, Islam's holy month. One of the women tearfully thanked the men for their sacrifice. Trump's message came days after the Council on American Islamic Relations called on the president to condemn the Oregon rampage and speak out against what the advocacy group sees as a rising tide of anti-Islamic sentiment. Anti-Muslim incidents increased more than 50% in the United States last year. CARE National Executive Nihad Awad said Trump had stirred up bigotry and racism through his numerous statements, policies, and appointments that have negatively impacted minority communities. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.